Alrighty. Let's see if we got everybody here. How's everybody doing? Let me know how the audio levels are. Okay. Anyways, so for the stream, I'm going to be doing some quick little research. I'm going to be trying to set up some general stuff, mostly just looking into... I'll mute my phone. Right. So hopefully the YouTube stream's keeping up. So anyways, so we're going to go ahead and look into writing our own language server, because that's something I was looking into and I haven't really gotten a chance to put any more time into it. So let's go ahead and look into it. For those of you guys that don't know what a language server is, it's pretty simple. The idea of it is it's a general way to basically build language support into like a variety of different text editors. So for example, like Vim, VS Code, all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of what I'm going to be looking at today. See if I can find how to write one, which hopefully it won't be too. Who knows at this point? This sort of stuff, but what's a better way to do it than now? I've actually got a couple of resources I checked out earlier. There you go. Yeah, anyway, so I've got some libraries that I looked at. There's a few of them out there. There's a Python one, there is a Haskell one, and a Rust one. And I've been looking into trying to see if there's one for like Go or anything like that, but I haven't found anything like that. But right now I'm just going to be looking at some general research for it before I actually go too far into it. Yeah, so feel free to join me. Fun. Well, I'd never mess with language servers much. I assume you mean like you haven't, or you're just not really into the idea. That's pretty fair. They seem a bit confusing at first, but at least like I use them all the time when I'm programming. I use them with Vim. For example, like, I don't know, let's show you guys like a language that I use it in. Let's just do something.c. So like now I use it in here, so it gives me like little highlighting, being like giving me warnings and all that sort of stuff, and it gives me completion. So if I do Control-X-O, I get all these completions. Actually, let's go ahead and do screen key, because I know that's what I'm eventually going to get asked about, is using my screen key. There we go. I really got to customize my screen key, but this is probably fine. But yeah, so I get like completions. So when I do Control-X-O, it gives me some completions, and I can select through them. Pretty normal stuff. Cool, I've been wanting to, but I haven't yet. Yeah, that's pretty fair. I don't know what you're using for a text editor, but Easy-E, but something that I use a lot is I know there's the built-in LSP and all that sort of stuff, but I don't really know. Oh my god, I don't care. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I know there's the built-in NeoVim LSP, but I don't opt out of using it. Instead, I use Vim. Yeah, I use Vim LSC, but like the alternative plugin called Vim LSP is also really good. I just find Vim LSC is a bit closer to feeling like it's built into Vim, so that's kind of why I end up just sticking with this. Also, I have to use Vim pretty regularly, so I kind of just stick with whatever works in Vim and NeoVim rather than trying to just make it only work in one. I've thought about making content actually on it, because a lot of people just use cock, if you will, for their completion and all their language server stuff, but I'm not really into it. I find I'd rather just use something that's a bit more minimal, because the language server is not really something that needs an entire, like, cock takes a lot of code from VS Code, like a pretty substantial amount, so it's like pretty large. So that's kind of why I like avoid using it personally. But that said, it's not really that big of a deal. I just find it's harder to hack on because you're pretty much working around an entire code base. All right. What is it? Okay. Actually, I guess I should probably throw some music on so you guys have something to listen to when I start reading some stuff. Trying to remember what the name of. Is this what it was? No. Oh, there it is. Sorry about this. It's just gonna take me a sec. I should just play. All right, let me know how the audio sounds. Let me know if the music's a bit too loud or a bit too quiet. And then okay, that should be pretty good. I should be able to hear that pretty well. All right. Ooh, nice. I'll try that instead of the current screen key setup I have. Ooh, nice and small. I like that. That's better. Good settings that might need to change the font though. vim-LSC, yeah. Yeah, vim-LSC is pretty good. I don't really know if it's like perfect, but here, I'll post a link down here. Probably visited it sometime recently. There you go. Just threw a link to vim-LSC in the chat just in case anybody needed it. But anyways, now let's go ahead and go back to this. And I'm very happy with Emacs's LSP. I've heard of like LSP mode. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. I like looked into it, but I never, when I tried using Emacs for a little bit, I never really got too into it, but I could see it being pretty convenient. Most of the features in vim-LSC are pretty simple. There's not really too much complicated stuff in it, but I find it's pretty good. Gets the job done for the most part. I don't really need anything too crazy in my workflow for the most part. Like all my debugging, I don't really require a language server to implement, which I think is possible to implement as like debugging. But like I'll just use ADB or something like that if I need debugging for the most part. while I look at this, feel free to tell me about what you guys are working on. If any of you guys got any interesting projects you're working on, I'm always interested to hear what you guys are up to. Oh, okay. So I'm just reading through that. So, do you have any opinions on Oracle as a company? Yes, not very great ones. Like, I feel like most people, I don't really know a lot of people that think very positively of Oracle. They just buy companies that seem to have a product and then abandon the product almost immediately. Capitalize on pretty much just like I find like I think some parts of Oracle are good. Like, I think Oracle's SQL database seems to be pretty nice from what I've seen of it. I haven't really used it very much, and I don't really care too much about it, but I've heard good things about it. And like, until they destroyed pretty much everything that they got out of Sun Microsystems, I'm sure they were seemed okay. But now that they've pretty much, like, most of the stuff that I've just seen that they've done over the years just don't really give a good impression on me. That being said, I've never worked for them. Probably saying this probably won't help. But yeah, you guys kind of get what I mean. I'm not really, I don't know. I'm not super into Oracle as a company, but I can't speak on a super intense level because I haven't been around in the industry for very long. What do you think about JetBrains, Kotlin, maybe overtaking Java? Oh, I didn't actually know that JetBrains was involved in Kotlin. Is this Kotlin? Okay, I just spelled like Kotlin. For some reason, I felt like Kotlin was gonna be JetBrains. So let's just go. Designed by JetBrains, developer JetBrains. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I think Kotlin seems pretty good. I haven't really played with Kotlin very much, mostly just because I've had to use Java a pretty decent amount, just from university. But Kotlin seems really promising. One of the big things that I really like about it is that it's just so much more concise compared to Java. Like, Java is super verbose by comparison. My current project is pretty much to make dinner. Also just played a few hours of nice. The most difficult motivation, making dinner. Yeah, I think Kotlin seems pretty cool. It's like Java too. I think Kotlin honestly does a lot of things better than Java, but to be fair, I feel like Java just came at Java made a lot of sense at the time, but now that, especially because Java is just used in huge code bases, it's just ridiculous how big Java source files can get for simple things. YouTube live streams aren't working for me on Chromium, so I'm working on that. Lol. Pretty funny. Man, you don't have to use Chromium. You can always give Qt Browser a go. Qt Browser just got Brave ad blocking, so if you guys have ever used Brave Browser, now Qt has the same ad blocking built into it. So I'm actually using that same ad blocking right now myself. Main Minecraft. Yeah, that's the big desire for people to start using Kotlin, is just because the development time is just so much smaller, just because you're writing so much less. That being said, I don't really know a lot of the language features that it implements that maybe Java misses out on, or maybe stuff that it removes. I mostly have just looked through it a bit and played around with it a tiny bit. I have not done very much, mostly because honestly, I'd rather stay away from the JVM if I can, for the most part, but obviously that's not always an option. But the way things are going, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of big names in Java related applications just say all the new code they're writing now is just being put in Kotlin, and a lot of stuff is just easier to rewrite in Kotlin. But that being said, Java is still, at least I don't really know if it's still more popular than Kotlin. At this point, Kotlin might be more popular. What year did Kotlin actually come out? Kotlin? So first release was in 2011, 9 years ago. Wow, that's crazy. And then last stable release, yeah. Keywords cast. Yeah, as much as like I feel like sometimes like being more verbose can be helpful. Like for example, like comparing, I know like this is a really silly comparison, but I'm thinking of like for example, like in theory, JavaScript is more concise than TypeScript because you're writing all this extra stuff, but obviously types make a pretty big difference. So sometimes the extra verbosity can be helpful, but in a lot of cases that's not very nice. I wouldn't design, yeah, same. I like pretty much, I can't stand like stuff like just printing to standard ouch is so verbose, which really it should not be. It should be pretty damn simple, but it's just ridiculous. I find, especially like, I don't really know what it's like for Kotlin because I haven't tried to set up a language server for it, but like just Java is all over the place when it comes to trying to set up something like a language server with it. So for the most part, I end up just using tags and stuff like that and struggling through it, which is kind of annoying. But yeah. Platforms. Oh, I never knew that Kotlin had Kotlin native. I've never seen that actually before. Why Kotlin native? Designed. Sorry, I might look like I'm blind, but I'm just really far away from my screen, from my tiny monitor screen. That seems pretty promising. Actually, I'm surprised I haven't heard of this before. I guess like in a lot of cases, people wouldn't end up actually using Kotlin for something like this, but makes sense. Seems like a pretty good use of it. Obviously, there's a lot of different things that use the JVM. Actually, I wonder how many languages there are in the world that use the JVM as their backend, primarily backend. Howdy. How's it going? Sus McNutt. That's a pretty funny name. How's it going? Yeah, I just like stuff being able to do something like this simple. I don't know, I find also just the syntax is just so much, well, this is kind of a bit less readable, but obviously it can be written more readable. Yeah. Yeah, I have like quite a few snippets that I use for how can I send you a snippet? One really simple way would just be to use XI, so oh, but I guess you can't post links in here. That's annoying. Yeah, just go with the GitHub gist. The issue is that you can't post links in here, so just put like type like the website and then just put a space .com. Just something like that. That was just a really bad example, but you kind of get the idea. Posting something like that then I'll go check it out. Love to take a look at some of this stuff. I have a few. Yeah, I could not use Java without snippets though. Like for example, like if I just do actually I haven't tried this recently. Yeah, so I have like automatic stuff where it'll like class and then it puts my cursor here. But I have stuff like, say for example, I did class and then class description. This is a class. Oh, that was silly. And then version number, let's just do 1. And then it fills in my name, private class, class name. I don't know. And then int var name, just var tmp, and then boom, boom, boom. You kind of get the idea. And then it puts me all the way down here. Pretty neat. So I get like a nice little snippet features from that. But are you up on Discord? Yep, I'm on Discord. I have a Discord channel. It should be linked in the description for this. Let's see. Hopefully it is. If not, I'll throw a link in there right now, actually. One sec. Let me just pull up Discord. And I'll have to take a look at some of these later. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you can go ahead and just throw that in the Discord here, just for anybody that's wondering what the Discord link is that can't see it in the description. I'll just post an invite. If I can remember where I click. There we go. Well, that was one of those classic moments where you feel like you're completely blind and then something's just right in front of you this whole time. There we go. There's the invite link for anybody that's looking for it. Oh, there's the gist. Let's go ahead and take a look at these cool Java features. Oh. My chair that I work in is just super uncomfy. Yeah, I just pulled up the snippet. Ooh. It's a pretty sweet run liner. I usually do this with the split down. That's pretty sweet. I like it at least looks like a lot more concise than I feel like I see a lot of other stuff looking. That being said, honestly, like something that just still bothers me is the whole need to like always give everything a class and putting it in separate files and everything. Like a lot of situations I feel like I don't need 2 files for something super simple, but it feels like I kind of need to. Java 16 is pretty much a new language. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I don't know if I'd I like this is still excessive. I feel like I feel like this printing should still be more concise than this, I feel, but that's just me. Huh. That's pretty interesting. I'll have to take a look at it a bit more. Maybe it's worth playing around with. Like, sadly, a lot of the stuff that my university makes us use is Java 8, which kind of sucks, but that's just how it is. So I feel like I don't really know a lot of the cool new language features very well. But yeah. Anyways. Okay, I should get back to what I was doing a second ago. All right. Let's call it in. This is what we're looking for. No, it's not. Okay. Yeah, it would be so nice if we got like macros of any sort built into Java, because then you can because honestly, just so much of it is just so repetitive. Like that's something that I feel like every programmer knows is like don't repeat yourself if you don't need to, but Java just seems to love forcing you to repeat yourself constantly. And it makes pretty much like doing anything without completion or anything like that can be just so frustrating, I find. Yeah, no lambdas for us, sadly. But who knows? Maybe in the future, the university will give us some assignments that don't use Java 8. But, or at least the last time I had to use Java in a class, we had to use Java 8, which was really, really annoying. public static void, yeah. I don't know if I've actually seen this talk with Rob Pike. I feel like Rob Pike is not the type of guy that I think would like Python very much, though, personally. Let's see here. I'm gonna try and look at like a great video Rob Pike correctly. Yes, it's problem with C++ Java. Disagree that Go is a great solution for those problems. Here, I'll just pull this over here so you guys can take a look at what I'm reading. Mostly just because I don't want to play the actual video from the talk on here, so I'm just kind of see if I can get a general idea of this before I take a look at something else. I don't know if I agree with this statement. In Go, you're still operating on low-level primitives, which make code error-prone and verbose. Like, I do agree that it makes code a bit more verbose to do low-level programming on a certain level, because while Go isn't really exactly like a systems language. Here, just a sec. Sorry about that. Anyway, so while Go itself isn't exactly a very like verbose language in itself, I do think the whole idea of it being a bit more verbose is reasonable, but I would definitely not say makes your code error prone. I think having like stuff like types and everything is straight up a lifesaver, because without that it'd be kind of silly. Like, I think the idea of Haskell being less error prone sounds cool, but I don't really know how actually true that is. That being said, I'm sure there's a lot of guys that will attack me for saying that. Yeah, I also cite that as a reason. Yeah, I've seen some complain that the engine is outdated, but I haven't really had anything fail because of it. If Rust's memory management problem will ever find its way into other languages, I feel like it is in other languages. I feel like some languages try to implement that in their actual compilers and everything. Like, that being said, I haven't really used Rust very much as well, but so that'll be kind of interesting to see if something like that happens. I've been kind of interested to see somebody try and make like some weird compiler assisted library or something like that for C. That'd be kind of interesting to see. But we have not seen that. And yeah, I like the idea behind it though. Try going to the Manjaro site and see if it complains. Actually, let's just go. I had Manjaro things bookmarked for a while for a little bit. Let's see here. System. I'm not really seeing anything complaining about me using Qt Browser for this, but I'm also using the Git version. So this is like a pretty recent build, so that might be why. Like, I'm using I don't know if you guys are using Arch or anything. Yeah. Qt. And yeah, so I'm not using like the base Qt browser. I'm using Qt Browser Git, which I wonder if I'm using the exact same version actually. Well, it looks like there might be another commit since the last time I updated, but anyways. Try private window to prevent cache. Sure. Oh, these are, yeah. I always kind of forget the way that you make a private window in Qt browser. No, seems to still not complain as far as I'm seeing. Who knows? Could be something I'm missing. All right, what was I doing last? Oh yeah, I was reading through this stuff. Totally agree with this statement. Languages shouldn't need tools to be successful. I totally agree with that. That's something that that's one of the big reasons that I think people kind of hate languages like Java, is because of that. Okay, Chromium has to have some additional stuff installed for it to work. Yeah, your version's ahead of mine. Yeah, that's probably the reason. Let's see what it actually says when I do Qt browser version. Probably don't read all that. I don't really know if there's too much to hide here. Yeah, so here's like the current version and everything, backend, and then I've got the actual ad blocking installed as well. So all that sort of stuff. Isn't Control-Shift-N? Oh yeah. Huh. Interesting. Duck it. I never noticed that it did that. Good to know. I just always do like o-private. And then I don't really know why. I don't really use private windows very often. If I need to do something private, I usually open it in the Tor browser, but yeah, imagine using a hammer. That's a really good way to describe it, actually. Sus McNugget. McNut. That's kind of how I think of it. Like, I think the idea of, like, I think that's why Go does such a good job. Yeah, I don't have the ad blocking thing showing up yet. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I highly recommend it. Like, let's go to like, I don't know, what's like CTV probably has like a ton of ads. And look at that, no ads, as far as I'm seeing. Or maybe if I go, ABC, is ABC an American one? ABC.com, yeah. And then, as long as so yeah, you see, I'm not seeing any of the ads that I feel like I should usually see. I'm trying to think of websites that have like a lot of ads, but I can't really think of a lot of. But yeah, it does make a really good job. And you can even implement, because like, yeah, the Brave ad blocker is like pretty worth it. I'll probably cover it in a video or something soon. Atomic Toast was one of the guys that was like, you should really cover it or something like that. Try canyoublockit.com. Seems like a trap. But I'm totally joking. I hope you guys wouldn't try and trap me. Let's just go with a simple test. Huh. Well, we can try the extreme test now, I guess. vim-dotoo sounds like somebody set me up. Huh. Looks like it's blocking all of these, at least as far as I know. I think you passed law. Yeah, it's pretty good. Actually, thanks for mentioning this. I'll go ahead. I'll have to try this out on a website on a browser that I don't know isn't as good at it. Let's see here. Video ideas, and then. And there we go. All right, I added that to my notes so I can test that out later on to show it off. Only one who wants to burn everything will capture. Yeah, it kind of comes down to like what I'm using. If I'm using Linux on the system, then I just have my remap set up. I pretty much, like, I never use, I have caps lock like always mapped to escape. I used to have caps lock actually mapped to control if I held it down, and then escape when I tapped it. But I found that was a lot harder to get used to on other computers. At least having like to just get used to hitting like normal escape was fine. But on my keyboard that I use right now, escape is like pretty far away, which I'm not really a fan of. But whatever, it's not really a big deal. Anyways, what was I looking at? Okay, so let's look at a lot of different languages. Really hard to understand. Have a lot of you guys actually worked with Go very much? I've been kind of interested in looking at it. I've like done like some minor stuff with it, but nothing special. Like, let's see. I don't really think I have much code. Go. Yeah, so I got a few small things. I tried to make like a Instagram Messenger app in Go, but the actual library that I was using just was like, no offense to like the library maintainer, but just like complete trash. Like, it just like didn't work half the time, and it clearly had like blatant errors in the code base, but they just like didn't want to maintain it. I had open issues for such a long time, and then I just eventually was like, well, they're just not gonna, they don't care about this. They haven't responded or anything. But anyways, no offense to the main, well, you know, it'd be nice if you at least were like, oh yeah, this feature is broken in the API or something like that. But just ignoring it is just kind of like, what's the point? Why make an API and then abandon people trying to use it? Interesting issues. Yeah, I've been thinking about taking a look at Nix and GNU, GUIX. I guess that's how you pronounce it. But it's not really my thing personally, but like I like the idea of it. I just kind of like, I just don't like long-term know if I'm gonna want to stick with one specific distro forever. So that's kind of my opinion on it. But I also think for programming it can be kind of helpful. I like it working with JSON and web APIs. Yeah, I know like JSON parsing and everything is like built directly into the library into Go, which is really cool. There's a few things in here that are not mine, I don't think. Yeah, I need to figure out a way to put my screen key at the bottom of the window. I wonder, let's just do it. Oh, what the heck? The screen key not have a man page. Okay, let's just go. Oh, geeks. That's what it is. Yeah, totally. Even if you don't use Nix, you can still use Nix. Yeah, like the package manager. Really? Maybe that's worth looking at Nix, like the package manager then. Have you considered trying Slack? Yes, I have actually. I've actually used Slackware. No joke. Not for very long. I'm not gonna be honest. I did install and use Slackware for a very short period of time. But one of the big reasons that I didn't really stick with it was I just got like sick of how the dependency systems worked. But Slack builds, I think that's what they're called, right? Slack builds, let's see if I'm correct. Yeah. Or Slackware's build scripts, whatever I think they're called Slack builds. I'm not too sure. I didn't use it for very long though. I only tried it for a very short period of time, so I'm no expert on it, I'll be honest. But I find like the Slack builds system is really cool and like super convenient just to be able to package up like anything that you come across. Like you'll be like, oh, that'll be nice to have. Like as nice as like stuff like the AUR is, it's like when I start packaging something up for myself, I kind of want it to stick with me, and Slack builds do a really good job at making that nice and concise. And I'm not actually too sure how they compare in functionality because I've never tried to package anything up for the AUR. Sorry to everybody, I really should try and contribute more to the AUR considering that I use it all the time. But yeah. I actually looked at escape. Yeah, I could see Nix being really nice for project management. If you have time now, yeah, I might as well look at. Okay, let's just Actually, let's just see if there's anything on the Arch Wiki for Nix. Nix is a purely functional. Pretty interesting. Surprised that there's this much information on Arch. I was kind of expecting it to just not have much for this, but thank God for the Arch Wiki, am I right? Yeah, I like having a little temporary environment, especially for like some languages and stuff. Like, I don't know. I get that some people like how Python manages its packages with pip, but man, can it be annoying. Like, I find that it just can be like super annoying. Setting up a virtual environment can be annoying. So maybe having something like this would be really nice. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Bit tired. Don't know why. How's it going, Brian? If any of you guys are interested in knowledge management, and like stuff like I do with my note taking, you guys should check out Brian's channel. It's pretty sweet. Honestly, I feel like the whole but it works on my machine. I feel like we're gonna get to the point. I guess like Docker's actually. What is the state of Docker in Kubernetes? Because I think I heard that Docker is being depreciated. I should really just change my default font size when I'm on streams. Because usually I'll just go stick my head in there and usually I'll just end up sticking my head right at the screen trying to read some of it, but don't panic, Kubernetes and Docker. All right. I don't need to panic. Container runtime interface created by Kubernetes Docker. The absolute state of Docker. Honestly, I haven't done much work with Docker. So I'd be kind of nervous to make some overarching statements. I'm like the kind of guy that is always nervous that he's going to say something wrong on a video, which I have done before. There's a really bad one where where on one of my videos, I showed pictures of the people that created software, and one of the guys, I can't remember which one it was. I remember one of them was Brian Kernighan, and then there was another guy that helped create the software, and I showed the picture of him, and it was the wrong person, and I felt so embarrassed. I was like, oh my goodness, what an idiot. I'm such a goofball. So I'm kind of sketched to make a video like the absolute state of Docker, but I've been really interested in trying to dive deeper into it, because I don't know how many people have heard me talk about, I guess I don't really need to make that any bigger, but I don't know how many of you guys have actually heard me talk about my configuration setup. Oh my goodness. But my entire configuration setup is done in a makefile. It's kind of silly how it's done, but it's basically so that way I can have a bunch of different stuff automatically set up for me, because make is almost always installed on every system when you install it, which is really convenient. And it basically moves my dot files for me. It for example, for Termux, it will install some packages. And then I had this before, but I don't really use this anymore because I used to have Groff installed, but now Groff doesn't really work very well on Termux. And then I have some extra stuff for Termux where it will make directories for all my dot files, put them in the directory. This is a bit more verbose than it probably needs to be, but it's fine for me. And then I have TLP where it'll install TLP, symlink my configuration for TLP, enable TLP, and start the service. So that sort of stuff. I just have a bunch of stuff for that sort of thing. But I have it set up Docker for me, but then I have test where it will actually install my dot files, and it will actually test everything out and make sure that everything is set up how it should be. Pretty simple idea, but honestly, a lot of this is taken from something I found on GitHub. I should probably link to it. This is one of the reasons that I don't have my dot files up on GitHub right now, is just because it's a bit crazy. Bruh, Sam, I hate the nerves of making video on things. Actually expert on them. Mistakes get pronounced on in the comments. Yeah, in my most recent video that I released, I had audio issues that I couldn't really hear. I don't really know why. I was just like, they didn't really stand out much to me. And I spent like a bunch of time trying to make the audio better for it. So that was kind of like one of the things that I worked on a bunch. And people, like I just like totally messed up on the audio. I guess I couldn't hear it when I was doing it. Maybe I'm just deaf. Sometimes I wonder if maybe I'm just like kind of like tone deaf, which is kind of funny because I used to like make music and stuff like that. I used to play the trombone, if you will. I also played like bass for a bit, but you know, it seems like everybody in the world says that they've played bass for a bit, so who knows. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's like the worst when you're just terrified of making a mistake. I've been playing with Emacs, org mode, and knowledge management over the past several years now. Any script for setting up a fresh install of Arch? Yeah, my Arch install is, well, my entire Arch install, like the base install part, I've like just tried different scripts for it, but I usually just do it by hand because over the top, like every time I've had to reinstall Arch, they've changed parts of the install process. So I don't really feel like trying to maintain something like that. I usually just do that by hand and then do the rest of it. Like once I've got my base install set up, then I just have it automatically install stuff like, yeah, so oh no. Oh, it's somewhere in here. Yeah, so here's how I actually do like installing all my programs. I just do like sudo pacman no confirm install needed, and then take it from standard input, and the actual file that I use has just like a list of all my installed packages, and then pkg file dash update, all that sort of stuff. And then I have it also use yay. Yay is in one of my packages that I haven't installed. I should probably have that as a separate thing just to make sure that yay is installed before the AUR. But then this will use yay to install the stuff from the AUR list. And when I do that, all I have to do to actually back up all my stuff is I just do make backup, and then bam, it's backed up all my files, my programs that I have installed. So now if I just edit that, bam, here's every single program that I have installed. And then I have an update of like everything that I've installed. So say if I wanted to just like take a look and be like, oh, what's changed in my configuration? I could be like, oh, let's look at the files that have changed. Okay, let's look at the files. Oh, I've installed Brave browser. Why did I install Brave browser? I don't really know why. I can't really remember why I installed it. I saw somebody mention like Duff, so I took a look at that. I deleted Discord Canary, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I should probably reinstall Flash Focus because now I'm using like the pip version of it just because it kind of broke in the AUR, but I'm sure it's working now. Anyways, now I'm just looking at stuff that I've installed. But yeah, you guys get the idea. Pretty convenient. Yeah, that's totally fair. I don't think it's a perfect solution, like especially for that sort of stuff. How do you rate DT's skills? Wait. Oh, I've never watched DT play trombone. I didn't even know he played trombone until just now. I wouldn't call myself a trombone expert. I'd say I was like pretty good. I only had, let's see, how many years did I play trombone? I probably played trombone for like 3 or 4 years. I haven't played it in a long time. I was the lead trombonist though. I even had a solo in one of our band's performances, which was pretty cool. Except that being said, the only reason that I had a solo was because the trombone section had a solo. And by the end of that year, all my friends, because this was when I was in junior high at least, this was like the first year that I'd started doing band, all my friends that were playing trombone, all of them had quit. So I was the only one playing trombone, and then I wasn't really able to quit because then they just wouldn't have a trombonist, which would have been super awkward at a performance where the entire trombone section is supposed to have a solo, and I'm the only trombonist, which is kind of funny. As a bassist, I can confirm that everyone has tried bass, and you think they're good, and usually aren't. Yeah, I wouldn't say I was especially good at bass. I was like, good enough. I like played it because after I got sick of playing trombone, this is a bit more of a personal stuff than I usually talk about, but I like usually once like all my friends had quit playing trombone, and I was like, at this point I was like in high school, Like and I was kind of just like, oh man, I'm kind of getting really sick of this. But like, I always had like this like don't quit mentality. Like I was like, oh dude, don't quit. That's just super lame. You'll enjoy it more eventually. And so instead of quitting, I like started. Well, I'd already been playing band because my dad's like a huge musical guy. So he like played guitar, and I feel like he always wanted me to like jam with him and stuff. So that's how I started playing bass, was like that. And then my dad taught me a bit, and then eventually I got like a bass teacher and stuff like that. But I wouldn't say I was ever very special at it. I learned how to sight read, which I guess is a pretty rare skill for a bassist to have, but that's not really that big of a deal. Really, when you think about it, like learning to sight read is not really that much of a time investment. And it's not like I could do anything crazy. Like I couldn't really play slap at all. My thumb calluses were too brittle at the time. Now they're even more brittle. I feel like if I played bass for like 2 days, my hands would fall apart again. Oh, I didn't mean to oh wait. Sorry, now I'm like lost. I didn't mean the installation wizard helper. I meant after the installation. Yeah, like most of my. Sorry, now I'm like a bit lost on what people were talking about. But yeah, I didn't do anything too crazy for a while. I wasn't very good and became a drummer. That's pretty cool. I know like I have like a bunch of friends that are like really into guitar and stuff. We had like a drum kit at my old house. We had like a whole music studio set up at my old house. We don't live there anymore though. But we had like a pretty cool setup. But it didn't like, I don't know. I didn't use it very much at this like near the end because I kind of had just stopped playing instruments. Yeah. I played piano and flute in school. Oh, my hand. Nice. I know actually my girlfriend, I think, what did she play? Yeah, my girlfriend played flute in band back when she was in high school. Actually, I don't know if it was in high school. It may have been junior high. I don't know. We didn't go to the same one, so I tried acoustic for. Yeah. Honestly, drumming's the way to go. Seems pretty chill. Seems pretty fun. Now I feel like I gotta. Distro tube. I can't seem to suspend. All right. Okay, come on. Something intense. That seems pretty legit. I'd say that's pretty good tromboning. Trombone. A pretty good trombonist. I'd say it's pretty good. I'll have to look up what actually, you know what? I'm going to ask my friends and see if any of them remember what the name of the song was that we did that had the trombone solo. About yeah. What if distro 2 is like that was not. I prefer. You should have thrown down some compliments. DMCA should have been like, man, best trombonist of all time. Not just joking. I'm sure distro tube's not that kind of guy. Seems like a pretty chill dude. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna ask my friends and see if any of them remember it. Oh man, I don't even know how to ask this because I feel like no one's gonna remember it. But why not? No, where is it? Where is it? There it is. Name. Right. DT is rad. Oh god. Okay. That trombone playing is better than I expected. Yeah, he seems pretty good. Like considering that he owns a trombone, I feel like that's already more than I expected. I don't own a trombone. What's your opinion on Luke Smith? Man, I feel like I get this question every stream, which is fair. I feel like a lot of my content is pretty similar in concept. I feel like Luke Smith, like, you know, he's made some pretty good content. Like recently I haven't really, I don't even know if I'm still subscribed to Luke Smith, but you know, I'm not really into most of his recent content, but I feel like it's just because he's gone a different route, and that's kind of just his choice. He can do whatever he wants. But I liked a lot of his earlier stuff. I really appreciated he like I can easily say that a lot of what got me into a lot of things started with Luke Smith. Like some things I kind of did before he was really super into it. Like I used DWM before, and now I feel like I seem like I'm just Luke Smith at it. Well, not really, obviously. I hope you guys don't think I seem like Luke Smith. I hope I don't look like Luke Smith. But now that he's shaved, maybe I do. If I go like this, maybe I look like Luke Smith. I don't know. Not that that's an insult, because he's not really bald. I feel like he shaves his head. I can't imagine. That'd be kind of crazy if he was like that young and bald. But yeah, like there's like a lot of things like that. But like some stuff, like I remember when I used to use Ranger, I was like, man, this is amazing. Like he's like probably one of the guys that got me to give ThinkPads a try. And now I like love them. Like I like can't get enough of them. Like Brian as well also has like the same. See if I can like pull this up into the camera. I apologize to you guys. I can hear that. I don't know if this is gonna look okay. Let's see here. Let's see if I can line this up with the camera. If I can find it. Okay, there we go. This is like what there we go. This is what my keyboard looks like. So like it pretty much has a I should just move that. Sorry, I've got like a metal ruler that's probably grating everybody's eardrums. All right, there we go. But yeah, so I use this keyboard pretty much purely just because I've gotten so used to using a track point, and I love it. I love it. Okay, let's see where everybody else is at. DT is rad. Do you have your trombone somewhere near you? No, I don't have my trombone anymore. I used the one through my school. So like I'm saying before, I did trombone for a long time, but I never purchased one. Especially because like I don't know, couldn't really jam with anybody on a trombone. Let's see if hopefully somebody from my school remembers what the song was called, but I have a feeling no one does. But I remember that one was pretty hard. But like most of what I did, especially eventually, I was doing jazz band, and like trombones kind of have a active role in jazz band, but it's not really anything compared to like trumpet. Trumpet in jazz is much more prominent than you'd get with trombone. And a lot of my friends played saxophone, so I was kind of like that one guy in our friend group that got shafted with trombone, because I joined like a bit later and I got stuck with it the longest. Like by the time I quit playing trombone, like everybody else knew about it. Hella down to earth. Even popped into one of my streams before. Yeah, he seems like a pretty cool guy. I never subscribed to you, Ryan, which is kind of funny to think that, like, not funny to think, but you know what I mean. It's kind of like, oh, that's crazy to think that. I don't know. For some reason, I remember when he like subscribed, I was like, whoa, that's so crazy to think, but that's so cool. Luke and Gavin are the 21st century patron saints of Groff. I'm happy to be seen like that. I'm at least happy now that when you search, like no joke, let's see. This is one of the reasons that I keep Brave around. So if I go, so when I open up Brave, I usually I literally don't, but I use like Brave's Tor mode pretty often. I know I could use the Tor browser, but I kind of just use this for like pretty secure. If I ever needed to do anything super sketchy, I'd probably just use the Tor browser. But now if I go YouTube, actually I think it uses Google as its default browser. I haven't done this in a while. But now if you go YouTube Graph, see if oh no, it does. Okay. And then it opens it up in YouTube, and then it shows us all of our search results for Graph. And let's see what comes up first. Luke Smith, obviously. I feel like that's pretty fair. But then my tutorial is the second one. Thank God. The amount of times that I have seen like this Jonathan Groff guy as the first result for so long, like, was just terrible. I was just like, man, I need to find a different name for this tool, because I like can never, like, these videos will just never be seen because everybody that wants to learn about Groff will just not find anything. But now these two videos are like the most popular ones, which is pretty crazy. Wow, 100,000 views now. That's crazy. Like 2 years ago, but still. Super cool. Really, I'm happy that at least you can find something on it now, honestly. Anyways, sorry, I went on a rabbit hole. Luke Smith first Arch install video. Yeah, I didn't really know about. I never watched, because like originally. So when I first got into Linux, I think I've talked to the stream before about how I first got into Linux. But search R programming. Okay. Oh man, I wish I hadn't. Let's just do it from here. I don't think it's gonna give it away too easily. Or I think if I do. Is that how you open a private one? And then bang. Oh. R. Are you gonna be the first result for R programming? Oh, there you are. Oh wait, what? I didn't even know that you did this. That's so cool. That probably was a pretty big. That's pretty sick. That's pretty cool. I'm surprised I haven't seen that before. Anyways, sorry about that. Let's see what we're talking about now, so that way I'm not too far track off stream. I started getting a bit too into the conversation there for a sec. Yeah, I was gonna say this before. So when I first got into Linux, part of the reason that I wanted to get into it was because I was into embedded systems. And so I remember I looked up like what's the most minimal system. Like I wanted to see like what Linux distro. I was like very new to Linux. I had no idea how embedded systems with it would work. But I remember I was looking up like what Linux distro would you use for embedded systems, and a ton of people were saying Arch Linux, which now looking back on it is kind of like silly. I don't think that's really how people would do it. I don't think somebody would actually use like a distro for something like that. And if so, it would probably be on a bigger system. And I don't know if you'd still call that embedded systems. But anyways, I remember I heard about that and then I looked into it. But then I also just like, as soon as you look up Arch Linux, you start seeing like people like racing their system. And so I was like, nope, not for me. And then eventually I like kind of started looking at doing like Linux from scratch. This is like before I'd even installed Linux or anything like that before. I was just like convinced that it's like, oh yeah, you don't need to use Linux before you have any idea of how it works. But then eventually I ended up trying the first distro I actually tried, which is funny because I only tried it for like, I think I tried it for like a day. It was KDE Neon for some reason, because I was like, oh, KDE seems like the cool one. Seems pretty fun. I went that way, and then I was like not really into it. And then after that, I like literally I installed Arch from the wiki, because I was an idiot. And honestly, looking back on it, like doing it, like I know it sounds like that's like you get so smart from learning how to install Arch. But honestly, even learning it from the wiki, I feel like I absorbed like none of it the first time. I think now I absorbed a pretty decent amount of what I've learned after doing it a few times, but still. But yeah. I too was brought here by Luke installing Arch, never looked back. Yeah, for sure. I'm really missing it in the community. I feel like you're still like kind of a part of the community a bit, Brian. Just not as active in it. Like Brody gave you that shout out a while ago, and I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. Like that'll give you like a ton of Linux publicity. That's pretty cool. But then I was kind of like, oh, I guess it's probably going to be a lot of people like asking why you don't talk about Linux all the time, which probably doesn't help. But I'm sure if you ever do a Linux, honestly, whenever I see like any of your videos mention Vim or anything in them, I'm always like, oh, gotta check it. Gotta make sure to check it out. DT has always been involved with the has been pushing small creators. Yeah, I like DT. I remember DT was one of the first guys that I saw on YouTube. Like I think him, for some reason, okay, I don't know about you guys. When you guys first started looking up Linux, tell me if this is like the same thing that happened to you, because I don't know if it was just me, but when I started looking for like Linux content, like the thing that pushed me, no offense to the person that I'm talking about, the thing that like pushed me away from Linux was like when I looked up Linux and I tried to figure out reasons that people would use Linux, I just kept seeing videos from the Linux Gamer. And it wasn't like he was like giving me a clear example. He was just like, everything is open source. And I was like, cool, I could kind of see like the advantage of this. But at the time, I was like in electrical engineering. I didn't know a lot of programming. It's not like I was going to look at the source code or anything for any of this. And I was like, cool, that sounds kind of neat. But I wanted to hear like about like what programs I can use to replace the stuff that I use right now. And then I remember he would be like, oh, the best programming, or sorry, not the best program. He would say like Linux is the best for gaming. And he was like, you get so many options with it. And I'm like, what do you mean options? And he like, I was like, the one thing that like kind of pushed me away from Linux was that he was just saying things and not giving me examples of it. Which now, you know what, he does do a lot of that sort of stuff. He does like, he still kind of does that, but he does give examples of a lot of things now. And I'm sure he did at the time. I just didn't run into those videos. And the other person I ran into was like Brian Lunduke, but, I don't know, his content like seemed pretty neat, but it kind of just seemed like weird that those were like the only two people I could find. I couldn't find anybody else. And then eventually I found like videos of DT. But at the time I just would see some of the DT videos and I'd be like, this guy seems pretty cool, pretty down to earth. Honestly, a lot of stuff, like, I don't know, at the time I didn't really read docs. Besides, like, I remember I read the AUR when I installed Arch, but when I was using, what's it called? KDE Neon. One of the reasons that I was like using it was purely because I liked KDE and stuff. So I learned like a couple of customization stuff. I don't know if you guys know who EG is. I think it's like EGEE or something like that. He might actually be streaming like literally right now. But he's got a lot of really cool content on that sort of stuff back in the day. Now he just does like distro reviews, but he does like I know there's the whole idea of distro reviews, but he actually does like legitimate reviews of distros, which I found super interesting when I was like learning about it. Because he would like compare things like stuff like, does it have default ways to open these different files? Does it have file sharing set up right away? All that sort of stuff, which I found pretty interesting. A lot more interesting than like the videos of just somebody installs Linux, plays around with it for a bit, sees what apps installed and goes, yeah, it seems pretty all right. Because those just don't help you. Like those don't encourage you to take a look at it at all. If all I think a Linux distro is just apps that are installed, it's like, what? Why would I care? But yeah, anyways. That's where I was. Anyways, that's what I was. I don't really remember how I got to this point. That's that ADHD moment. I feel like you guys are like seeing the ADD stuff come. Oh, I'm literally seeing that Brian just mentioned ADD. Yeah, you guys are like seeing the struggle of it. You need to do a Linux is greater than Mac video once you return. Yeah, honestly, when you do a Linux is greater than Mac video, Brian, I feel like that will like, you'll get all the Linux views, and then I'll be kind of interested. I'll be interested in it. I'd be excited to see that. That'd be really cool to see somebody move to Linux, then move to Mac, and then go back to Linux. I feel like that would be a pretty big eye catcher. I'd love to see that video one day. Obsidian is basically Vim emulation. There's so much missing. Yeah, honestly, like I think Vim emulation, great in a lot of different tools, but oh my God, can I not stand how, like I made that video on org mode. I feel like a decent amount of you guys have probably seen my video on org mode, and how I use it in Vim. And like just a lot of people like emailed me, which I was surprised by. I don't really know how people emailed me, but I got a few emails of people just being like, telling me stuff about like how it's like, you should be using Emacs because Emacs is literally just has Vim built into it. It's the exact same. And like I get where they're coming from. Like Vim's emulation with Evo mode is really good, but it is not Vim. It's not the same. It doesn't have all the stuff that I'm just like love, like having quick, like I know that there's alternatives to use for the quick fix menu, but I just enjoy how simple it is and how it works almost always just by default. I enjoy like startup times are just amazing on Vim, which I know you can have a daemon running, but I'd rather not have a daemon running all the time on my system and everywhere I go just to have it start up faster. Anyways, that's just kind of a little rant there. I've been planning to install Slackware, but haven't gotten around to it. Yeah, Slackware is pretty cool. I don't know if I'd really ever recommend it. I think for people that want to mix things up, like try something really different, Slackware is really good because it does feel old though. I'll be honest. Like you can feel the slow development that it's had with some of the programs, at least, especially when I switched over to Arch. So I feel like that might be a bit biased, but yeah. Oh my God, the Linux gamer is so annoying. I'm reading this. Don't quote me on this, anybody, please. Oh God, the Linux gamer is so annoying. He's watching. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like one thing, like I feel like I've talked about this before. I went on a bit of a rant in one of my streams about this, about how I just like, especially things that I can't stand is like videos that like make a big statement in the title. Which to be fair, I literally just did in my most recent video where I said with like, I was like, it was something like image magic more than you know, which I feel seems a bit excessive, but I also just didn't really know a good way to concisely explain like all the features I showed off of it. And I felt like just nobody seemed to know about them. Also, I'd posted them in, if you guys, everyone here has probably seen Brody Robinson. I think that's his last name, Brody Robinson's channel. And I'm on his Discord, and I love to chat there because I like talking about Linux stuff and all that sort of stuff. And I like mentioned this stuff about image magic. Like I thought about making a video, but I was like, maybe a lot of people know about this. Who knows? And I was surprised at how many people just had no idea what I was talking about. So I was like, maybe I'll just make this video, throw it up there, see how people feel about it. But yeah, I don't appreciate it when content creators, especially when they just like, I don't know. I try really hard not to do like the classic face in like all my thumbnails and do like just have something like image magic like changed my life or something like that, or like I don't know, just when somebody says something like crazy, like I don't know, like it almost feels like there's like I'm ready to see like a thumbnail that just says like System D killed my family or something like insane like that, just like a huge overblown clickbait trap. You kind of get the idea of what I mean. I don't really like that, but I appreciate what a lot of people have done. Like I think Brody's content, some of them are like almost clickbaity, but I feel like a lot of them are like pretty straightforward and honest and everything. Okay, DT and awesome. DT and Brody are awesome for legit. Yeah, especially when it comes to, sorry, I'm just responding to Brian's like DT and Brody comment. Yeah, I've kind of like jumped back and forth in how much detail to put in my videos. Partly because like a big thing for me is that I hate having my like time. I don't know how to describe it. I hate having my time wasted, and I hate watching like a long video unless it has to be that long. And so like, especially when I make videos, like I put in a decent amount of time to editing because I try to just cut out any extra wording where I'm like I say all right and okay and yeah, it's pretty cool and that's pretty neat and stuff like that in like a ton in my videos. So I try to like cut that sort of stuff out. So some of my videos kind of come off a bit jumpy because of it, but that's just because I'm trying to cut down a video as much as I can. Like usually I'll have like a video that probably could just be like after I've cut it down, like maybe like 30 minutes. And then I'm just going to try and cut that down to like 15 if I can. And the biggest reason that I started doing this because my first video that I made was just so long and so slow. I can't stand looking at it now. And I just don't like having people having to like click around in a video. Shout outs to Brian, by the way, because Brian actually like recommended that I put bookmarks in my videos, which now I feel like I'm happy with now because I feel like I'm wasting even less people's time. But yeah, so I feel like that's pretty good. Obviously, I've thought about also doing like, okay, now I'm just rambling, but you guys kind of get the idea. To return to over and over. Yeah, I agree. Like, especially when you're getting started with stuff, which is why, like, I feel like, especially with a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, like, examples can be useful, but sometimes they're just not good enough. And that's kind of why I'm still making content on Groff and Trough, even though I feel like you have enough to get started. I feel like the documentation is just so hard to follow for a lot of things. Like, there's not good examples for a lot of it, and you really need to dig around to find information on it. Which is kind of why I still make content on it. Obviously, I haven't been making as much as before. But obviously, if I just keep making it, more people will know about it. Better it does. Better Groff and Trough get known. The more contributors they get, the better it gets. All that sort of stuff. If anybody is interested in Slackware, nice. Oh, you're in this Discord. Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet to. Actually, maybe I'd love to. I never really know what channels. Actually, while all you guys are here, if any of you guys have suggestions for channels to add to the Discord, let me know. Like, I have a suggestions area where people can do that, but I feel like people are hesitant to say anything in the suggestions until I post something in there. So feel free to let me know what you guys think, if there's anything that should be changed. I feel like some people can be a bit harsh about their suggestions, especially like some of the stuff that I've seen like on Reddit when people post my videos and stuff can be a bit harsh, but at least they're suggestions, which will only help the channel. So yeah. Okay. And then it's Robertson. Oh yeah. What did I say? Did I say Robinson? Probably. Yeah. Brody Robertson. Seems like a really cool guy. I was thinking about chatting him up sometime, see if he wanted to have me on the podcast for an episode. I figured that'd be pretty fun. Chat with him about Canadian university versus Australian university. Kind of interesting. Yeah, also uses Matrix community instead of Discord. I need to bridge. I've been telling myself I'd bridge my Discord over to Matrix, but I haven't done a long-winded. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think it'd be fun to chat with him. I haven't really gone. I've been waiting for a good chance, but I haven't really. I gotta wait for like school to settle in and everything, and then I kind of want to like. I feel guilty if it feels like I'm grabbing subscribers out of it too. That's like the one thing I've been kind of like worrying about. So I'm kind of waiting till I get a few more subscribers, so it doesn't feel like I'm just pulling subscribers out of it. But yeah, it'd be really fun to go chat with him sometime about it. I don't even know if he. I assume he. I don't really know if he knows about my channel. I've like my channel's come up a couple times in his Discord and Matrix chat, I guess, a few times, but I've never really. I try not to shout myself out too much unless, yeah, pretty much. Anyways, yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I've actually thought about doing like podcast style videos, and maybe making a separate channel for it. But at the moment, obviously, I don't want to split all my content between a bunch of different channels. But I've thought about doing that sort of stuff before. Yeah. All right. Looks like the chat's quieted down for a bit. I'll see if I can find what was it. Oh yeah, I was looking at doing. Okay, let's go ahead and just try this Arch Linux Nix thing while we're at it. Guess we'll just go with the non-get version. Oh man, I'm gonna regret this. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna do that because I just realized I'm probably gonna run into like a huge bottlenecking issue with the streaming in this. But yeah. Anyways. Let's just see if I missed any of these comments. I feel like I saw most of them. ThunkPad. Okay. I had like a list of things to do during the stream. One of them was looking at the language server. The guy moved to Next. That's fair enough. I feel like if you're maintaining something like that, you just move to Next. I don't know. I've thought about. I'm really into because I've wanted to like get more into Guile. I don't know if any of you guys have like because I'm pretty into the idea of Scheme, and I've worked with Scheme a decent amount, but not too much. When I say Scheme, I mean Racket, which I know some people don't technically call it Scheme. It's like a superset of Scheme and has a lot of extra stuff on top of it. But I've been really interested in taking a look at working with Guile. Actually, I don't know. Here, I'll just give you guys some example of that being. Oh, I misspelled that. I think there's an E in it, isn't there? For those of you guys wondering, I'm borderline illiterate with how terrible my spelling is. Which I'm sure if you guys are in my Discord or chatted with me anywhere, you've probably seen how bad my spelling is. And grammar, obviously. But yeah, so if you guys are like used to a Scheme, this will look pretty familiar. Here, let's make that a bit bigger for some of you guys. So here's like some example code. So you do like define. The cool thing about Scheme is just how everything feels like it's built off of itself, which is super nice. The language is so simple, but also like not at the same time. That's like a really silly way to describe it, but that's kind of like the idea of it. Yeah, that's kind of like the idea of it, is that it's nice and concise. So like define is used for the same thing as defining a variable, which I guess technically isn't a variable. It's technically called a constant, I think, in some cases, or a variable. I can't really remember what they call it in schemes, but yeah. So you can like define a variable with define, but you also define a function. You define literally everything with define, which is really cool. And so because of that, you can do some really interesting stuff. Everything is treated kind of the same. So some people say that like it's like functional in the way that like first class functions and everything like that, which is really cool. And funny enough, like one of the reasons that I started looking at Scheme was because I know that my channel is like all about trough and graph and everything like that, or not all about it, but that's a lot of the content that I make, and where a lot of, I feel like, my major subscribers and my longtime subscribers are from is from my trough and graph content. And part of the reason that I was doing this was just to start getting more comfortable with using recursion and stuff like that, because in order to actually make a loop, which I feel like some people are like, why would you make a loop in this? But in order to do loops in graph and trough, you actually need to use recursion in order to do it. So here's just like a really quick example for those of you guys that are interested. So here's like a really quick example. So here's like a definition. Actually, let's just find where I actually do it. Okay, so here's a good example of it. So I have max heading level, and this is kind of how you like define headings. And so here I go like, I define some a string, I define some numbers, and then I basically go like, okay, if it's still less than or equal to the max. So basically I'm just making sure that we haven't hit the maximum number of headings. I think I probably could have gone about this in a different order, actually. In fact, that probably would have been better. But I wrote this like a long time ago. But the idea of it is that you go through all this and then you check if you're at the end. If you're not at the end, then you loop back to the top. And the big reason for this is that there's no while loops or anything like that. How much logic do you actually do? I didn't say I wanted to build an LSP with it. I did say it'd be a funny proof of concept, but I don't know if I could actually do it. But how much logic can you actually do with trough? Pretty much everything that you could need. Like it's obviously not great. Like I don't think there's any form of like case statement, but you can do if else. You can do like multiple levels of if. If you're using like newer versions of trough, like graph and heirloom trough and everything like that, they implement while loops and stuff like that. But and I think there's like for loops and stuff like that are built into it. But you can do pretty much all the logic that you'd expect out of this. It's just a bit more verbose and a bit more frustrating to read. Like this code right here, like let's just like isolate it a bit. Like this code right here is not super readable, and so you have to do you do a dot and then you have to do like indentation just to separate everything out. But yeah, you could do like everything that you'd really expect. So how was the idea of a trough LSP coming along? Well, I was trying to look into writing an LSP. The idea was that I was trying to use something like, I was trying to think of like a way to do the, because I think you pass back and forth TCP. Actually, I think you can use standard out with it, can't you? So I was looking at this earlier and I totally lost my train of thought on what I was doing. But if you can do standard out with a language server, which I believe you can, to pass back. Oh yeah, dude, Troff is crazy in what you can do. Like let's like it is weird though, because there isn't return statements, which is honestly one of like the most difficult things to work with, which sounds like, why would it matter if there's a return? But the big reason that return is nice is because you can end a macro quicker. But the big thing, sorry, I almost forgot to mention this. One of the big drawbacks though of how loops work is that you can end up hitting, I'm trying to think of how to like describe it. You'd hit a Stack Overflow in theory, but you basically, cool. Thanks for the hoodie comment, Saren. But anyways, what I was going to say was that you can kind of hit an overflow. So I actually, I think, sorry, this is just be a sec. Let's see, is it in here? No, it is somewhere. TMP. Oh no, I know where it is. Sorry. .ms. Okay, so here, this is just like what I was setting up for a video that I was going to cover in the future. But let's see here. Okay, so here, so there's actually a lot of ways to like change this, but this is kind of the idea of it. So, okay, so this is going to kind of spoil things for the future, but I'm sure you guys will probably want to see a better explanation of it. But this is kind of the idea of what I did. So I had like a definition for a heading format. And so here it would basically increase the point size by a certain amount, print the text that it's given, and then bring the point size back, and then break the lines. So that seems pretty simple. And then the way that I actually made a ton of headings is I would do headings.local, which is pretty simple. And the way that that does it is it does recursion into just basically making a heading for every, so it loops into itself and creates a new definition for a macro. So right here, it's defining a macro. Here it's defining a macro using a string. So this might seem a bit confusing, but it'll make a bit more sense when I actually have a whole video on it. But right here, it's defining a macro with a string inside of its own macro. And so now when I do define macro 6, it's creating 6 different levels of headings. So if I actually just, if I just ran this, so here we go. So we have our recursion example, and here I'm like creating 6 different levels of headings, and this is each of the headings. And so heading 1 is the biggest, heading 2 is a bit smaller, heading 3 is a bit smaller. You could obviously customize this as much as you would need to, but you can kind of like do this sort of stuff with making different headings. But the big thing is that you can actually hit a limit. So here in Graph, the default limit for how many levels of recursion you can do is, I think it's about 1,000. And so when I'm going inside of a macro inside of a macro, that also counts as some, I can't really remember, stack limit. So you end up hitting a stack limit when you keep going inside of itself. And so I think that's why it only allows me to go up to 37, because I think if I go to 36, it doesn't actually fail. But if I go back, it does fail. And when I look at the warning, it says, it just like assumes it's probably an infinite loop, and then it gives me an error. But you can actually change this. It's different in different implementations of Troff, but that's kind of like the idea of how you do it. But obviously you can kind of like avoid this. There's ways to get around it that you can go ahead and give a try to. I should probably play around with them and make sure I know, but yeah. Anyways, so that's kind of what I was thinking of doing. I was using this to do loops. But you do hit a limit. But anyways, the idea of how I was going to do it was I was going to try and, because with a Troff, so when I go, so in most Troffs, you don't need this, but there's a -u flag in Graph, which puts it in unsafe mode, which allows you to call external programs. And so the idea would be to basically have the language server use something like curl or some sort of external program to actually do the message passing. Now, the big issue with this is that you wouldn't be able to actually, so, okay, this is going to be a bit weird, but my idea was that you can't do parallel processing. But what I was thinking was, since I can call external programs, the idea would be to basically start instances of Graph, instances of Graph inside of Graph, which would be kind of neat, kind of cool, fun little idea to play around with. But yeah, that's kind of the idea of it. Now, obviously, this is totally ridiculous. And I don't recommend anybody tries to do something like this unless you just wanted to do it for fun, which is exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, anyways, I probably bored the heck out of you guys with this sort of stuff because it's because as much of a dorky community as I feel like I'm involved with, I feel like that's like peak dork. But that's kind of the idea that I had in mind. Let me know what you guys think about it. Also, let me know how the audio is, by the way. Oh yeah, I guess I forgot to... My music has stopped. There you go. Alright. Music's back on. Should make sure. Nice. Oh. Okay, cool. Looks like my mic's not picking up the sound. I was just making sure. Yeah, I know. I think standard output should work. I know like some actually just use standard output by default, so I should be fine. I don't know how messages are passed in though. Maybe they're passed in from standard input. I'm still trying to learn more about how it works. Which I feel should be pretty simple, but I don't know. I'm no genius. Oh, I forgot that ALE had a language server built in. Okay. Tab of S? What do you mean? Oh, I have seen this before, haven't I? So crazy. Huh. Like mounts your file system. Mount your file system on your computer. But like, what would you do with it? Yeah, I've heard that Acme has a LSP client. I haven't tried it. I also have no idea because it's built for. So I don't really know how it works on any of that sort of stuff, but I have seen it before. I remember I looked that up one time. Acme also has like a lot of stuff though. You can look at like Twitter through Acme. You can do your RSS feed through Acme. You can do email through Acme. I love the idea of how Acme works. I just really wish that there was something like that built into like an editor that I don't know. I wish something like that was available in Vim as like just like its base way of doing configuration. That'd just be so much. Like I get the idea of how it works, but man, I really wish that the way of using everything as like a file server and using external programs was just built into Vim from the start. That being said, I guess maintaining programs is a lot harder than just getting it to work on the actual text editor. This is so cool. Oh man, now I wish something like this is there something like this for Qt browser? Somebody hit me up, let me know. Oh, I just saw it when you scrolled through Wikipedia. Huh. Yeah, you see, I'm not really, I don't know. I like don't really use Acme very much. Like this is like my workflow. Like when I've used Acme, like I don't know. Like especially if I'm like I guess you can like do like quick searches and stuff. But like actually I guess like now you can like do. There still isn't an undo key binding. I feel like I remember. Now it's been like a while since I've used it. 1 sec. I kind of hate also how, I don't know if you guys get that. Do you guys get that when you open Acme and it like doesn't scale properly at first and then you have to like adjust it? All right, where's the undo now? This is really awkward for all you guys that isn't there supposed to be undo? Am I just blind? Okay, this is just really far away from me. All right, well let's just go like this then. I can't even remember what I'd done. Okay, let's check and make sure that I'm actually doing this right. Oh, okay, I guess you can't do it that way, but you can do that. W. Okay, yeah, so the undo does work. Okay, was there... Oh. For some reason I thought when you opened Acme, it put undo up there. I guess it's been too long. I couldn't remember that. Key bindings for Acme would be nice. Middle click to exec, yeah. Yeah, I know that isn't there a way to do key bindings in Acme now with 9front? I feel like I remember hearing that, but I haven't tried it. At least Control A, Control E, because I don't think Control E originally worked in Acme, right? Is that correct? Could somebody correct me on that? I don't think Control E originally. I think it was only, or Control A. I think it was, what was available originally? It was, I know they had like Control W, Control U, or Control U, and then, I can't remember what it was. But I don't think there is actually like a built-in way to do stuff like undo from key bindings. But yeah, like either way, I'm still like I am far from a pro with Acme. Although I do like the idea of it, I just am not really into it myself. But maybe I should give it a go sometime. It's just like the biggest thing too is like, I think Acme is pretty neat, but man, I end up missing syntax highlighting. And I know like that's controversial, syntax highlighting actually being useful, but I feel like it's not really that crazy. I did not even know they had someone. Yeah, like I know there were like some key bindings in the original Acme, like Control W, Control U, and one other one I think, but I can't remember what it was. But it looks like a decent amount of read line ones. Like I don't think Control N, Control N, Control P. It's Control H. Control H was the other one that I'm thinking of. Was the other one that existed. So pretty much everything that's a shortcut for a backspace, which is kind of like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of times, like at least having Control A and Control F would be nice, Control E, Control B would be nice, but I don't know. Excuse me, I'm just going to turn down my volume. Yeah, surprisingly no one made it. Well, I think a lot of people that like Acme don't care about syntax highlighting, which is kind of just disappointing in my opinion. Like I think if syntax highlighting existed, at least then it would be like a decently optimal situation, especially now that like tree sitter exists. I feel like it'd be interesting to see tree sitter get implemented inside of Acme. especially considering that like Acme is meant to be like, oops. Considering that Acme is meant to be like reliant on other systems, it's really disappointing to not have something like Tree Sitter built into it. But now that I'm saying this, maybe I should look this up before I sound like an idiot. Let's just do. Now that I feel like this doesn't exist, but just in case. Actually, let's just go. Acme is also a really hard thing to look up. Let's just go. Is that how you spell Tree Sitter? I don't remember if they spelt it like that. Let's see. Let's find out. Okay, we're not gonna find what we're looking for. Let's go GitHub. Just see if anything's on GitHub. Code. Seeing anything. I'm trying to think of where I would even find that. But yeah, I don't think there is anything that's implemented that. And sadly, there's just so many implementations that people have tried to do with Acme, but I don't know, it's just not really kind of a shame. I know that some people, actually, if any of you guys know, I've used SAM like a tiny bit, but I've never really played around with it very much. Do any of you actually prefer SAM over Acme? If any of you guys do, let me know. I'd be very interested to find out why you prefer SAM over Acme, because doesn't Acme like allow you to use pretty much everything you can do in SAM inside of it? And it also has pretty much like way better, like I am not a fan of the way that SAM does window management. I don't know if you guys don't know what I'm talking about when I say SAM. I feel like a decent amount of people probably will, but this is what SAM looks like, and then you can do like a right click and it'll give you a bunch of options. So let's do like new, and then we're gonna and then we give it a window. Let's just put some text in here. Now time to try and remember how you actually do this. Dot. How did you do it again? I'd have to relearn how to do things in SAM, sadly. But this is kind of the general idea, and then you do like kind of sed style or like ed sort of actions on everything. But yeah, that's kind of like the idea of it. Okay. Anyways, let's not look at Acme because I can't even read anything that small from here. Actually, I've always kind of like considered putting using Plan 9's font on my computer, but never really gone around to it. Never really given it a try. I'm kind of interested to try that. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's open up Chrome. I keep Chrome around just on the off chance I need to like do something like Chromecast or something like that, but I just don't. I never use it. Now I feel like I have so many browsers installed on my computer. It's kind of silly. But anyways, let's go ahead and give this a try. Tab FS. Is it actually on the Play Store, the Chrome store or whatever? Let's go. I haven't actually installed extensions in a while. I've Grammarly installed. I know, terrible. Curse me. Hail. How's it going, Ryo? Hope that's how you pronounce it. Oh. I guess you have to install it from GitHub. I've actually never tried to install a plugin like that. Okay. Set up install browser extension. feel like that's just here. Developer mode. I think I'm looking packed on my go to unpacked. And then tab fs. I guess I can't. That in a sec. Oh, that was awkward. Select folder. Open. Okay. And then I'm sorry for all you guys that are getting bored by watching this. Definitely apologize. All good. I'm not expecting it to be. Oh well, it does. Well, let's see. Pretty sure I already have Fuse and everything installed. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's gonna be called the same on Arch, but I have a feeling it is. Okay, I think I have it all. I have that installed. Oh, wait, okay. Not that I don't really, well, I don't really trust everything I read online, but I just want to kind of see what I'm looking at. Huh. Okay. Oh, whatever. Well, YOLO, what's the worst that can happen? I apologize to everybody that, felt hurt when I said YOLO there for a sec. Huh, alright, well that was pretty simple. Okay. It's a good thing I got Chrome because this works out pretty well. Alright, then let's go. I think, yeah, so it's right here. Let's just take a look at it. This is kind of funny to think that I'm using a see what I'm dealing with here. Who uses a path? For those of you guys that are just hopping in right now, wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to mess around with this browser plugin that allows you to look at your browser tabs as a file system, which I'm kind of interested in. Okay, this kind of seem all the same. Seems like it's actually doing what it says. There's probably something in there that that somebody's gonna be like, dude, you should have noticed this thing, as usual. Oh my goodness. And then I copied that earlier anyways, didn't I? Yeah. Was that it? Now I'm like questioning it. Copy this one just to be safe. Yep, looks right. And then back over. I guess I don't really need to quote that. Okay. Back to Chrome extensions. Yep, got that open. Browser tabs. FS. Whoa. That's really interesting. By title. Let's open another one. Wonder how it. Oh. Let's just. That's so cool. Whoa, that is so sick. That's so cool. That worked really easily. I'm kind of surprised. I was definitely expecting. That's so cool. Extension. Okay, that's just best mount. And then we have all this Windows. What's in Windows? See what comes up. Let's see what image we get. If this opens. Let's see. Visible tab. Oh, does this like I wonder if this is like actually an image of the window. That's so cool. I'm gonna have to look at this. I wonder if there's any content on this already on YouTube. Be kind of cool to take a look at, see what people think. All right, well, I'm definitely gonna look more into this. Thank you so much, Joe Shutt, for shutting this out. I should okay, I'm gonna have to head out pretty soon here. But yeah, this is a great find. Great thing to know about. I think I actually looked at this before, but I just thought, yeah, I just didn't think it'd be. I don't know. I just didn't think it was gonna be this cool. I thought TabFS was actually like just a file manager you'd run in a tab or something like that on your browser, and I was like, that seems kind of silly. This is way cooler. TabFS. Yeah. Anyways, that's pretty sick. So that was probably really strange to watch for a lot of you guys, but that was really sick. I don't really need that. All right. I think I'm gonna head out right about now. I've got a bit off the deep end. It's about 1 o'clock. I think that's probably it. No problem having playing with it. Let's see on the 9 fans mailing list. Yeah, I'm not on the 9 fans mailing list. Mostly, well, I wouldn't really consider myself a Plan 9 expert and stuff like that, but I've been looking at. I haven't really looked at anything Plan 9 related in a while, so maybe I should do a video on that as well while I'm at it. Actually, I think I saw it. Maybe it got posted on Reddit sometime recently. But yeah, anyways, let's I think I'll probably call it here. What was I gonna say? I was just thinking of something. Who knows? But yeah, that was really sweet. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. I know what I need to do. There we go. Now I'll remember to say, like, show you out for pointing this out to me. Okay. Anyways, I think I'm gonna head out, guys. If there's anything you guys want to throw out there, any questions or anything, now's your chance. Otherwise, I'm gonna head out. Alright, I think that is it then for the stream, guys. Have a great day, have a great time. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Hope to see you guys. I'll do another one next week, probably around the same time. I'll try and post these a bit earlier. I know I'm pretty bad about not announcing my streams early enough, but this one went pretty well. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah. Anyways, I think that's probably it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.